Good morning, my name is Stuart Kendig, and I want to talk to you about white daylilies. First thing to say is there are no true white daylilies. Daylilies come in all colors except white and blue. What we have in daylilies is we have very pale yellows, very pale pinks, and very pale lavenders. And they can function as white flowers in our garden. And white flowers play an important function in our garden. The white color is a great contrast with the dark green foliage. So let's cover some daylily topics before we get to white flowers. The first is the Greek name for daylily is hemerocallis. And hemerocallis means beauty for a day. So each of these flowers will last one day. This will be tomorrow's flower, and this will be the flower the next day. When we talk about white daylilies, one of the subjects we have to talk about is diploids versus tetraploids. The naturally occurring daylilies are diploids. They have 22 sets of chromosomes. And a lot of the new daylily introductions are tetraploids. They have 44 sets of chromosomes. So the reason we have to talk about it is because people like tetraploids because their flowers have a lot of substance. This flower has a lot of substance. If you take a petal and break a petal, you can do this in your own garden. But you see the tissue is very thick. There's big corrugations in the petal. I hope you can see some of that. So tetraploid daylilies tend to have a lot more substance to the flower than do diploids. And that's important, and I think it's one of the reasons why the diploids sometimes appear whiter than the tetraploids. The whitest daylilies are diploids. Tetraploids are not as white generally, though they can be beautiful, beautiful white flowers with all sorts of fancy stuff on them. I really enjoy white daylilies in the garden, but it's very difficult to evaluate just how white daylilies are. And because we have so many cream or lavender or pink, pale versions of those colors that substitute for white daylilies, I'm really interested to see what is a white daylily. And the white daylilies will fool your eye. So the only way that I've found to properly evaluate whether daylily is truly white or not is I carry around the whitest daylily in my garden, and I will compare. I'll put it side by side and say, gee, is that really a white daylily? So let's take a look at some white daylilies. Polish Snow is absolutely beautiful near white flower, and there it is next to Gentle Shepherd. This is Sagamartha, another diploid white from the same era in the early 1980s, and I think it's every bit as white as Gentle Shepherd. And here we have Margot Reed indeed. This is Space Coast Snow Angel. This is White Magician. This is Snow Wonder. Again, I'm comparing it to a white flower. This is Space Coast White Christmas. On its own, this is a beautiful near white flower, but if you really compare it to a white flower, you see it's not all that white. This is Clarity of Purpose. I got this and I said, oh man, this is another diploid that's very white. It is very white, but not as white as Gentle. This is Kennesaw Lemon Mountain Sorbet. Beautiful, beautiful, very pale yellow flower, full of ruffles, and of course not as white as Gentle Shepherd. This is Westbourne Miss Personality side by side with Gentle Shepherd. This is Polar Snow, beautiful near white daylily with a nice gold edge, but it's not white when I compare it to a Gentle Shepherd. This is Ice Crystal, looking very white in my garden, but it's not as white as Gentle Shepherd. This is Actual Ice, which is a very nice white daylily. It's a diploid and has a lot of substance, but it's not quite as white if I compare it to Gentle Shepherd. The whitest daylilies appear to be the ones that have the least amount of substance in their petals. In fact, the petals are really translucent. Here you can see if I put a white petal behind this flower, you can see right through the petal and see the white flower underneath. So we think the whitest daylilies are often white or appear to be white because they're getting backlit through the back of the petal. If you want to learn more about daylilies, I suggest you join the American Hemerocallis Society. They have a quarterly journal that will tell you everything you need to know about daylilies. And if you want to find a local daylily club in your area, go to the AHS, the American Hemerocallis Society website, and from there you can locate a daylily club in your area. Thank you for watching.